Ow. What's up, guys? And welcome to our third ODF podcast. We owe our audience an apology. The last two podcasts, we really haven't done an actual introduction. So we're going to start that off this episode. My name is Jacob Witkowski. I also do Jacob for Real, another YouTube channel. And I'm originally from Northeast Houston and moved up here to Dallas to attend at DBU and be on the bass team. And I'm majoring in marketing to kind of take it into the fishing world and try to fit those two things together, making money and fishing, because that's what I want to do.
What's your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal is to, at some point, I'd love to fish a pro circuit. That's the point of this channel. It's one dream. So that's really the only ultimate goal I'm going to say, because I'm not stopping.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Alright, so my name is Mark Harris. I am originally from Lindell, which is a small town outside of Tyler, Texas. And I'm a freshman here at Dallas Baptist University. And I'm also a business marketing major. I chose marketing for same thing, Jacob, is to, in the fishing world, it is very important to market yourself. So I figured I might as well get a marketing degree. So.
Cameron, you go next?
Ultimate goal.
Oh, my ultimate goal is probably, well, it's definitely fish a pro circuit, but probably win a college national championship.
Sweet.
Okay, so my name's Cameron Rhodes. I'm from the northern state. I'm a Yankee. I'm from Rhode Island. Very different compared to these southern guys in Texas. I'm a marketing major as well, and my goal is to just make a living in the industry, whether that's pro or working for a company, YouTubing, just somehow staying in the industry.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. Alright, so my name is Reese Martin. I'm also from Lindell, Texas. I grew up there. I moved there when I was about 11. Mark and I started fishing in high school. That's kind of how we knew each other. We were both successful in high school, and that's kind of how we kind of got onto the DBU bass team. So my main goal, spit it out, is going to be, I think my future goal really is to be to win the Bassmaster Classic. So that's always been a goal of mine. So I think shoot high, always a goal.
Like it. All right, so for this podcast, we're going to be doing a lake breakdown of our last tournament, which was the Outlaw Outdoors State qualifier, which was on Rayburn. I think all of our favorite lakes, maybe not yours quite yet.
Not my favorite lake.
Not
First
his
time.
Quite yet. But if y'all haven't
Champlain.
seen it already, the link will be in the description to our travel vlog for how our practice went and then leading up to the tournament. But in this, we'll be discussing how we did on the lake and kind of what happened with the tournament. So I guess I'll start it off. I really enjoy Rayburn, but I do not have a lot of experience in November just because I'm used to being in a tree stand, and I hate fishing in the cold. It's like number one on my hate list. So we went out, and I figured they would be deep, so we scanned some brush piles. Never really found anything great. There was a few fish in a couple piles here and there. And then we started seeing these big roaming schools, and we were trying to figure it out. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense why these fish were just kind of roaming, big giant schools. The littlest we seen was probably 30, 35 fish. So we found this one school that was around 150 to 200 fish working this one area, and I started dragging a Texas rig, and I felt a shell bed, and I was like, why is that there? So I was like, you know what, I'm going to throw a crankbait. And there's this flat with a shell bed on it, and right as it went down and it dropped into a creek channel is where these bass were kind of staging on with that school. So they were relating to the shell bed and where it dropped off, where I'm assuming the shad were pushing up into. It was kind of an ambush point for those bass. So fished that area with a crankbait, and literally first cast caught a 3.5. As we went through that area, I think I missed another one on a crankbait, and then my partner actually decided to throw a HUD, and this was pretty funny, was he threw this Huddleston out there, got a backlash. He's peeling out the backlash. All of a sudden he looks up and his line's just going that way to set the hook. He didn't actually get it, but that was kind of like our second indicator that there were a good amount of fish moving that area. So we decided to leave that alone and went caught a few more like 2-pounders and some brush piles. Really never had anything great going on. We were just hoping if we got that school fired up, it could really be lights out. So going into the tournament day, started off with a fog delay, which was nice. It was freezing outside. Our deck of the boat actually was frozen.
Yeah.
Everything was frozen, which was very terrible. But we went out there, tried the school for a little bit, and I think I caught one short and then one good fish on a crankbait. It was like maybe a 2-pounder. And we started kind of getting frantic and ran south of the 147, tried one of our road beds that had shells on it, and just wasn't really feeling it. And we were like, you know what, let's go back to the school. As we're pulling back into school, we see old Mark and Reese in their nitro, and they're waving us down. So we go over there, and they're whacking them on a drop shot right where we left in the morning. And we're like, you gotta be kidding me. So we pick up the drop shot. Well, I didn't at first because I hate just slow fishing, so I picked up the crankbait. And I was very stubborn. I wasn't going to pick up a drop shot, but I threw that crankbait for a little bit. When I saw Mark and Reese catch about their 6th fish, I was like, you know what? I might switch over to a drop shot. So I switched over to a drop shot, and we had a limit in probably 30 minutes. I never just was able to cull. We ended out with 1072. But the funny part of this story is, towards the end of the day, we were fishing this, and I hadn't caught a fish in maybe 30, 45 minutes. And my buddy Ryan at the front of the boat's running the trolling motor, and I see his rod just like dunk, bent over. He sets the hook, and it just goes zzz. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is a giant. I'm like running for the net, and I get the net, and we're chasing this fish with the trolling motor. There was like 3 boats coming through. We were up in deer stand, and there were like 3 boats coming through that just stopped watching us. We're chasing this fish with the trolling motor. It gets stuck in a brush pile, and we're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But thankfully it comes out, and I'm like, my buddy Ryan, he's like, this can't be a bass. This can't be a bass. I'm like, dude, we're on Rayburn. This is a bass. And we start freaking out. We're like, this is a tournament winner if we boat this thing. It finally starts coming up. I got the net ready. I'm like switching sides, trying to get ready for this thing to come up. All of a sudden, a 12-pound channel catfish appears out of the depths. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. We net it, and I just like throw that thing on the front deck. I'm like, that sucks. We really thought we had a giant. But other than that, we never really were able to cull up and get any big fish. But it was fun. I love being back on my home pond.
So for our practice day on the mighty Sam Rayburn, my partner Reese had fished that past weekend, the weekend before, and we have a set of brush piles. We probably got 6 or 7, and him and his dad fished a tournament, and they pretty much caught a bunch of 2-pounders. So we went there first just to see if they were still there, and they were. So we decided that we needed to find bigger fish. So during the practice day, we just graphed on my new Humminbird units, which are amazing. The Solix 12 and the Helix 12 and the 360 are the best graphs on the market. And we graphed around, found a lot of brush piles, but they didn't seem to have fish in them. And then we found a couple of big schools that were kind of out there in the middle, like with nothing to hold to. So we fished those for a little bit, couldn't catch anything, and pretty much didn't really find any big fish. So we were going into the tournament day just fishing our brush piles, just hoping that we could get one good one out of them if we just milked them like all day.
Yeah.
So I'll let Reese talk about the tournament day.
Yeah, so basically, we just ran our brush piles. You know, we started in the same brush pile where we caught a bunch of fish during practice. We really just felt that we could go there and catch a limit really quick. We ended up catching 4 off it, but it was just really nice to be able to go catch fish really quickly. It's really all mental. Like once you just catch that solid little starter limit or something, you're like, okay, now I have however much time is left to go look for a big fish, and that's really what we were hoping we could do.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. Huh? Don't do that. So after that, you'll understand here in a second. We go, and I was like, okay, so my dad and I caught a couple fish off these couple brush piles here. It's just scattered stuff, and there's fish here and there, and there was nothing really to it. We would just turn one direction, catch one here, one over there, and then one on the other side. And we went there to the tournament, and we pulled up, and sad day.
Yeah.
I was using my. I'll
happened.
tell you what's going on. So we were sitting in 24 foot of water. I throw a cast. I saw on Mark's Solix that there was looked like a blimp out there, just sitting on the bottom. I was like, I'm gonna remember where that is. And I turn to get on trail motor, right where I thought it was. I'm just working my drop shot, and I feel just kind of go soggy. I'm like, So I lean on it. I'm like, it just feels like the same size as the last one. And so I'm like, okay, it might help us out. It might be our fifth one. And nope, not at all actually. So a whale came out of the water, and I mean that thing must have been 6-7 pounds.
It was every bit of 6. It came out and jumped 10 feet from the boat.
It just rolled.
And I guess Reese had a fray in his line he didn't see.
Yeah, I was using 8-pound tests, and so anytime you're throwing an 8-pound test in a brush
it's
pile,
just part of it.
it's just kind of you're playing with that risk.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the bite, but you don't always land it. So it was really upsetting because we had been out looking for that one fish.
That was our goal.
It came
goal
up.
of the day.
Yeah, it came up and just popped right off, and I was like, oh, I was sick. I was sitting down retying. I was just shaking. I was so upset.
Yeah.
So, but Mark fired out there, and so we were like, he caught one. Then once I was retied, I caught one, and we were sitting there for 30 minutes, probably caught 40, 50 fish.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a lights out school.
Yeah.
But
the big thing in that part of fishing is you always got to keep your partner. You got to always keep his head up because
it's all
you miss
mental.
a fish like that,
Yeah.
it can just get in your head for the rest of the day. So I just pretty much told Reese, I was like, hey man, look, there's nothing you could do about that. You didn't horse that fish or anything. There was just probably a fray in your line you couldn't see. So we got over it pretty quick. Reese said he felt like he's going to throw up.
Dude, I still keep thinking
Yeah.
about it. It's just like eating
It's just,
away at
those
me.
ones hurt, but you got to get past it and just get on to the next fish. And
Fish don't break your line; they break your heart.
yeah.
That is so true. Golly, put that on a plaque on the wall.
Amen.
Yeah, so
We ended up culling up a couple more times, and Reese caught 2 3-pounders. Those were our 2 biggest.
yeah, so we were fishing a weird placement, but it was actually a brush pile right in front of a
Boat ramp.
boat ramp, and so there was a high school tournament releasing, and so they had like 15 minutes left in the tournament. We're sitting there fishing, and I caught 3 fish, and there's like basically a crowd of people loading up,
Yeah.
and then there's one dude fishing with like 4 other guys in the boat, and so Mark and I are casting at that. The dude sees me catch a fish. I put it in the well, and then the dude fires a cast exactly where I'm casting.
Yeah,
and
they
just
almost
laughing.
hit lures.
I mean, it's like, have a little respect. It's
Yeah.
kind of annoying, but I mean, what are you gonna do about it? You don't own the water, bro. So,
You gotta have on the water etiquette.
yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was kind of frustrating, but it was actually cool because we were sitting there, and all of a sudden, I guess one of the kids had released a dead fish,
Oh yeah.
and a bald eagle shot out from the tree and came down and picked up the bass right in front of us. So
like
that was,
20 yards in front of us, came down with his talons and grabbed it.
yeah, so that was pretty sweet to see.
That was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So, I think we had about, I think we thought we
14.
had about 12, 13, and we honestly didn't think we had that much, and we go weigh it in, and it went 14.2, so that was always, it's always
14
nice.
and 19.
14.9,
Yeah.
19, so
Yeah.
it's always nice when you
load-
fish weigh a
Yeah.
little bit more than you think they do, so that was cool. I think that ended up getting us 12th place.
Yeah, we ended up
right
getting-
out of the money.
Again.
Which kind of sucks, but
Yeah, but we still had a fun time. The Outlaw Outdoors tournament, they did great. They were awesome. Sam Rayburn's always fun, so we're looking forward to going back there next year.
Yeah, for sure.
oh, I do need to. You see that guy's hat? You see the brand on there? Killer rods. We caught all our
Yes.
fish on the Alfangler DSR.
Drop shot rod.
It was-
DSR.
Best drop shot rod on the market, hands down.
Yes, y'all
Better-
see it in the videos.
Yeah, it is It's better than NRX. I don't care what anyone says. Thing is ridiculous. It's cheaper than all those.
Yeah.
It's only $300, which is still a lot, but compared to NRX and a Conquest, it's killer. So,
For sure.
Cameron?
Okay, so this is my first time down on the big old Sam Rayburn. Our practice day wasn't as lovely as these guys. We had a short day. We only had 3 hours to fish. My partner Hunter's boat had an issue with his bracket up front by his trolling motor where it ripped out last tournament at Darnell. So we brought it into a local shop in Jasper, and they're like, okay, if you bring it in around noon, 1 o'clock, we'll come and fix this, and we'll have it done before the tournament. So we're like, okay, we have 3 hours to practice. So we went up all the way up north past Deer Stand. I'm sorry.
I went up to the 103, right?
Yeah, we're close to 103 Bridge. He had a couple spots from history. He's fished there quite a few times. So we graphed offshore. We had an island and all that where I lost one on a crankbait. So like okay, then we went up shallow for the last hour or so, and he caught 2 fish on a chatterbait on Main Lake Point or right off the point, Main Lake. We're like, okay, maybe we can scrounge up a limit come tournament day. They weren't big, but like, hey, it's something. We have short, limited practice. We'll take it. Come tournament time, we run completely past Deer Stand. We're probably 6-7 miles out, so it's probably about 45-minute run. We get there. We start fishing. We're not getting anything. We're like, oh, gosh, what are we going to do? We had little to no practice. We didn't know anything. Well, he has spots, but we didn't practice anything like that further down. So, like, okay, we're just going to go fishing. We ended up moving probably about 11 o'clock. We just abandoned everything and went down. We went back around Deer Stand, and he had a couple brush piles that he knew about. And we get close to him, and we see these guys just chilling right there. We're like, are you kidding me? So like he's like, okay, we'll go to this point around Deer Stand I know about. Go there. Immediately he throws a Carolina rig off the point and misses a big. He hooks into a good fish. I don't know if it was big, but he hooked it into a really good fish. We're like, dang it. And we keep on going on. I lose one on a drop shot. It was small, I don't think, and probably was a little spotted bass for all we know. We're like, okay, we're catching fish on Main Lake Point, 20 feet of water. Like, okay, we're starting to get something down. Then we moved back out to that point where he had more bites, and we just went out a little bit deeper, and we found this brush pile. We look there, we just see the dots everywhere. We're like, oh, we're about to light him up. We did not let him up. That's the story. We stayed there for like an hour. We're like, okay, we tried everything. I threw a flutter spoon for the first time, almost wore myself out. He caught one on a Carolina rig. I caught a short on a drop shot. I was like, oh, you can't. We're just like, what are we going to do? So we went up where they were fishing, where his brush pile was, and we go there. First thing, we see giant blobs in this brush pile, and we're like, oh, here we go. We're going to have to let him up sooner or later. We fished there for about an hour and a half. I snapped one fish on a drop shot. I felt it. It was in the brush pile right over a limb. It goes dunk. I'm like, ooh. I didn't lean hard on the fish at all. I just went and just snapped. Like there was nothing there. I didn't feel how big, just how it felt when it ate it. I'm like, this has to be a good fish. Didn't even lean on it, and it just broke. It was like grease. I was throwing 8-pound line, but just retied, and I was like, I don't know if it was one of those big catfish or he had, or I had no clue. I'm like, dang it. So we're about to give up. We're just going down. We're by the 47 bridge by Castle Boykin, and we're idling back. We're like, maybe we'll find some grass in the back of the pocket. There was no grass. We're like, okay, we're about to turn. We have 30 minutes to fish, and we see all these boats around. We're like, why are these people all the way in back of the pocket? There's nothing around. And all of a sudden, we see fish busting everywhere. We're like, oh. I grabbed a spook out of the rod locker. And like third cast, he caught one on a rowel trap. We're like, okay, let's go. And we have about 15, 20 minutes to fish. And he caught 3 on a trap very quick. And I caught 2 on a Berkeley spook. And we're like, thank you, God. guy was like, okay, it was my partner's last tournament, last 15 minutes, and they came up scoring like, this was amazing. They're like, we're not coming in with nothing. We had no, it was just probably the toughest tournament I've had this entire year. I've had a really good year, and I'm like, oh, last year I had a bad tournament. The last tournament of the year, I'm like, not again. So I zeroed. I'm like, I don't want this happening 2 years in a row.
So y'all filled y'all's limit out in the last
15 minutes we had our
That's
all fish,
awesome.
and our last fish was our biggest fish, which was about 4 pounds.
That's hard to come by. For some reason, they weren't big at Rayburn.
Yeah,
so-
everybody around the entire lake was struggling to get big bites, which is weird for Sam Rayburn.
Yeah, I sincerely hope it gets better because
Yes,
that's just rough.
Yeah, the craziest part is they're in a foot of water.
that's
Like,
crazy.
I've
Everybody
never-
else was fishing 18 to 25.
They were just everywhere.
and I've never caught schooling fish. Well, in Rhode Island, we don't have shad feeders. They just roam and just chill out by themselves. Like, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. But we're like, okay, we're looking at the time. It's like, oh no, it's 4:10. We have to be back at 4:30. So we haul. We get there exactly at 5:30, and we 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4:30.
4:30. Did I say 5:30?
Yeah.
My bad. We get there at 4:30. You put it into neutral, and it hits 4:31, and we're like, it was
Oh
just,
my
we were like, we're the last boat in and everything. We're like, we're so lucky out this day. It was a day I'm not going to forget, and we finished out 19th place. It was a lot better than I thought we were going to have at 4 o'clock, I can tell you that.
That's awesome.
Sure.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it kind of shows you how easily a day can turn around.
Never
Yep.
give up.
And that's really happened.
Never give up.
Yeah, that's been like a like a testament to just kind of how everything goes. Like in high school, Mark and I actually won the state tournament on Rayburn, and we were it was a very last day of practice. We had motor trouble. We had to buy a completely new motor just so we can get out and fish. And then it was shout out to my dad for that, by the way.
Yeah.
And and so it was just cool because our very last spot of the day just turned up, and so that's it was a spot we won off of. So it's just really cool to see,
How your day can switch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just like that.
all right, guys.
All right.
So
Well, we are going to conclude this third podcast. If y'all haven't already, go check out this podcast. Is on iTunes as One Dream Fishing. And then we are going to try to bring y'all 2 podcasts and 1 challenge video a week. We're going to try to stay on that. It might get a little different during the holidays, but we're going to try to give y'all that content. But if you have any suggestions for podcast challenges, punishments, anything like that, leave it in the comments. Remember to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. God bless. We'll see you on the next episode of One Dream Fishing.
Waboo!